Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Speed Sport live from Visions 2020. Hello, everybody. Speed Sport live from Visions 2023. Hello, everybody. I'm Dave Arnold, joining alongside Eric Allred. And, well, we got this special guest, Travis Pastrana. Travis, what's going on, buddy?
Man, it's been one heck of a day. I tell you, we were testing some jumps and put a little more kick on the inside. I was taking Leah Block for a drive and rolled her twice, but then I got to go over to the motorcycle section. Did my first double backflip in 5 years, so having a lot of fun. You hear all the just so much fun going on at Visions. I haven't found any of my friends. They're like everywhere. This is just awesome.
Well, I know it's been a while. You had your wrist fused. Haven't seen you doing some backflips in a while, so it's good to see that.
Yeah, this is the first double backflip I've done to an airbag since having a wrist fused, and this is only the beginning. Like this track, you're going to see some different lines coming in when we get those electric FC1 1,000 horsepower vehicles. But even today, I think during the racing, you're going to see a lot more lines come in, trying to make the outsides as fast as the insides. But also, we're thinking concrete, we're thinking pavement. This is year one of like a 5-year build going on out there. We're going to get better every single year. This is going to be so much fun.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your career. I mean, I remember back in the day you coming out to California, 14-year-old kid, little crusted demons of dirt going on. They're out there jumping, your mom yelling at everybody. I mean, and look at you now. That's what's insane.
Nothing's changed.
Yes,
absolutely,
I know, exactly
nothing has changed, except we have an opportunity here at Mid-America to do what's never been done, and that's really get at the best of, I mean, everything from RC cars to off-road. There was over 100 of the youth on the very, the very start. Like my kids are coming in, they have cheer, but they're coming in today, and they're both trying to get vehicles. We're going to be racing here on Thursday. I'll be racing pit bikes on Friday. I'm going to be doing the Nitro Circus Show. I mean, Nitro Cross over here. Some of the biggest names. Tony Stewart called me up.
Smoke, baby.
Called me up. It's like, hey, can I come out Thursday? I was like, yes. Like, it's just the people that are reaching out from all different, it's not just road sports, not just dirt sports. This is on the map, and it's only going to get better.
Well, you said something very important about your kids coming out and how family-friendly this park is. It's incredible. The lazy river, the kids park. I know, it's so cool. It's like one of those things that if you got something you don't think you could do, we got it for you.
No, the coolest part, like been here, we actually have a house on the property for Terry Madden and I, and he's doing the ultra boards and working on those tracks. And because we've been out here so much building and pit bike tracks and everything that's going. But every single day during the week, there's a school bus out there. And Jason and Gayla Robinette, who own this whole facility, are gracious enough to let us into their home. This is a public pool for Jay. And it's just so cool to see everything we're giving back. So many trails. I've been here for 2 months and I haven't seen so much of what's actually going on. This is fantastic.
Now, Travis, you've partnered with the Robinette family to bring Nitro Cross, Nitro Circus, and your pit bike series here to the park. What does this partnership mean to you, and how did it all come to fruition?
You're told a lot in the sports that we're doing, like, oh, we're going to build something cool. We're going to do this. Jason doesn't talk. He just simply goes out there and makes it happen. He's like, what do we need to get a triple backflip? We have J.O. Archer down there from Australia coming into a triple backflip on the biggest setup that's ever been seen anywhere in the world. And Jason didn't bat an eye. He said, look, let's do stuff that's as safe as we can do it, that's as family friendly as we can do it, and that we can include every single person from anywhere in the world, from any walk of life, no matter what they want to do. If it has a motor, we're going to have it here.
And now you've put down their first few laps on this new course. Through your very first double backflip since getting your wrist fused, and even tested out the human catapult. What else can we expect from you here at Visions?
Well, I got to go apologize to my team. I was actually taking Leah Block for a drive around. She's coming out to do the Nitro Cross Championship in the lights division. She was getting her first drive in today, and we were testing some jumps, and I got a little too much air on the inside. We're trying to make the outsides the same speed as the insides to make the inside super awesome, just for video. And just, I went a little big with Leah. We did a double flip in the cars, and then I did a double flip on the bikes, but we'll be good. We got that Dixon flannel black rifle car. It's not going to look quite as pretty as it did earlier today, but we'll be back.
Well, I know you helped design this track. We're running short course out there. I'm hearing great things. They love the side of the hill, how you set that up and everything. I mean, coming into this track, you see the property. What ran through your mind? Was there a giggle going, oh, I can't wait for this?
Well, it's one thing to have the opportunity to do whatever you want to do, but which has never happened to me before, and I've tried to build tracks in Maryland and everything. But Jason said, hey, what do you want to do, and how can we use the facility? The hills here are bigger and steeper. Like, the videos and the camera does not do this justice. Walking the track, like, it's hard to walk up. We have a 45-degree banked Talladega right corner, and as this starts getting paved and concreted, you'll see the banks getting steeper. You'll see the outsides really coming into play, and just the track flowing more and more every year. So give it not only an opportunity to build a track, but the opportunity to build a track, take in information from all the classes, And, watching out there today, I see a lot of people kind of running the same line. And I'm like, all right, I think when they see what we're able to do and we get some of the top guys running different lines, everyone's going to start building that in. But if it doesn't, this is not a 1-year plan. This is a 3-year, this is a 5-year, and it's going to keep getting better and better, and it's going to be so much fun. I'm having fun just being a part of this.
Well, the crazy thing is we were here 3 weeks ago. All that asphalt we saw over there wasn't even there. It's amazing what they have done to make this dream come true.
I literally spared no expense on safety and on fun. I mean, we brought a catapult in from Nitro Circus, and they're launching people into the lake over there. We got Gomez coming out and doing backflips and everything that you could imagine. If it's fun, Jason's like, yeah, let's make it happen.
Okay, so we got pit bikes, we got Nitro Cross, we got Nitro Circus, we got short course, we got RC car racing, we've got Mark Gomez doing backflips in the pond, we got the catapult. What's left? What's next on the agenda in the mind of Travis Pastrana?
It's just to make the greatest racing facility that we possibly can, and I feel like we're bringing in the brain trust on this track from people that do like the BMX X Games courses, Red Bull X Fighters, all of this motorcycle, and then we bring in some of the top rally drivers to say, this is my favorite section in a rally course. And you're bringing now, we were reaching out to Indy. We got Connor Daly coming in to race this, like so pumped on the name, so pumped on the amount of vehicles. I mean, look at behind us. Like, everyone just flowing around this track is making me smile.
Connor Daly, IndyCar driver, Smoke, Tony Stewart, NASCAR, Sprint car, you name it. And then they're all coming to play at this off-road mecca.
It couldn't be better. And, all of that aside, just being down there, the kind of the Nitro Circus area, I mean, our Willie came out early. Ryan Williams, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, definitely the winningest big air BMX rider of all time, and he's a scooter rider at heart. This guy's, and he's out there playing today because he's like, I cannot miss this. He flew in from Australia to be here early to come have fun with everybody, and that's the coolest part. Like, everyone just kind of riding around, and no one really cares who's there. They're like, yeah, cool, high five. I'm going to go ride this over here.
Now, you mentioned that this is just the start of a 3-year plan. Where do you see this going in the future and just reaching those new heights?
Well, the coolest part about what we're designing back here is that, it's Mid-America outdoors, not Mid-America off-road. Like, we got all of this off-road everywhere, and that's still going to be at the core and at the heart of everything that's going on here, and bringing in the action sports, bringing in Olympians, bringing in everything that we can. But at the end of the day, there's going to be a course in this, kind of a 2-mile area right up front that is going to be completely paved and concreted, and the concrete will act just like the dirt. So you'll have dirt but without dust, so it can stay, and you don't have to worry about reprep and that kind of stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, there's still going to be almost entirely dirt courses that you can run everywhere around this property, but we can bring in shifter carts, we can bring in a Porsche Cup, we can bring in anything that you could possibly imagine that we want to run. We'll have it out here, and it'll be at a level that's never been seen before.
And one of the great things also we see with the economy in this area, Jay, Oklahoma, what this is bringing to the folks in this town, the local businesses.
No, without a doubt. And everyone in this town has opened their doors with open arms. It's been just absolutely amazing to see the camaraderie, to see how many families are coming out here. And like I said, this facility, the pool is opened up. Yeah. Like, during the week, as soon as the pool's open, there's school buses that come out. Like, it's not just for Jason or just for these big off events like Vision. This is for the community. It's for the off-road community too. And if you drive anything, ride anything, jump anything, want to be an Olympian at anything with wheels, this is where you're going to come. Well,
and we got so many off-road courses too. I mean, if you want to come out, they rent the side-by-sides, go cruising out there, right?
No way.
Have you done that yet?
Oh, yes. I spent...
Oh, the smile came out. Oh, what did he do?
Nothing. That's fine. Well, I got lost for about my crew, we were hauling dirt, and I jumped on the Can-Am just to, at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was needed for help for the rest of the night, and I got back at like 5 a.m. It's like, luckily we had gas in the back. We were fine.
Oh, man, it's a good time.
It's amazing out here.
But, one of the things, too, is, Jason's, like I said, pushed the family aspect. All these families coming out. Where do you expect these grass hillsides? Is it going to be a sea of people or what?
It's going to be a sea of excited fans. And you look over there, you got the Barbie Jeep downhill. I am so excited for that. You got Tim Montana kicking things off tomorrow. Yeah. Like, literally one of my favorite country singers coming out here. Like, this is such a family, and it's everyone is touchable. It's not like our Willie's over there, he's high-fiving there, hey, well, what if we drop this, and getting kids involved and everything. It's just so cool to see that, like, everyone that's coming here is coming here to have a good time and to be, like, just immersed in whatever is going down. I got signed up for the pit bike race. I don't know how. I got signed up for freestyle. I don't know how, but it's something about this place that's just infectious, and you just want to have fun.
Well, there's one thing I got to ask you if you signed up: pro rodeo.
No. There's a line. I gotta draw the line. I am old. I am fragile. No, Bulls. I will be watching the rodeo. I'm so pumped for that. Like I said, my family coming in tomorrow morning, bright and early. Cheer is taking up most of our life, but the fact that they're excited, they're like, Dad, can you give me a car? Can you give me something to drive? As a father, I'm like, yes, we can. Let's go.
Well, the acorns didn't roll far from the tree.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That's for sure. But one of the things, too, with all the concerts you mentioned, you're not just one country act. We got quite a few coming in.
No, it's just banger after banger after banger. And talking to Jason and just getting that atmosphere right. The racing is, for me, the biggest priority. We got to have the best racing, the best driving, the best cars. But for Jason, it's all about the experience. And for me, this is the first event that my kids and my wife are like, let's go. When can we get there? And that's what it's all about.
Well, it's definitely cool to see, because that's been the heart of everything that the Robinettes have done since they've started and since they've grown and acquired all of these things. So it's really cool to see it all kind of be reflected as they continue to grow here at Mid-America Outdoors.
Thanks for having me out. I cannot wait for the rest of the week. I know I'm not going to have a voice, I'm not going to have any energy, and I'm going to be the happiest person on the planet for the next 4 days. So, come back.
Well, Travis, we want to thank you for coming by. The new Pastrana land right here at Mid-America Outdoors. I want to thank all the folks tuning in, but don't go anywhere. We're going to be lots of week updates here at the Speed Sport Live from. Well, we're going to throw it over to Pam Hall and Ken Stout for qualifying here tonight. So don't go anywhere, and we'll see you very soon at the Speed Sport Live from desk.
Thanks a lot, guys. Looks like a lot of fun out there with Travis Pastrana. He's a ball of energy. We've had him on our show a couple of times, the Skinny, and man, the stories are just endless, but so cool to have him involved out here, of course, with Visions Off-Road 2023, presented by Can-Am. I'm Ken Stout. Pam Hall sitting right alongside. There's a beautiful look, an overhead look at this massive track that has just been put together. Keep in mind, we raced here in March, and the track was not even here. And now we came back in Memorial Day. During Memorial Day, they raced on this track. They've also changed the track again since Memorial Day. And, of course, we'll throw down on it here. Visions Weekend, certainly one of the biggest of the year. So we're going to handle some qualifying here. We have 4 classes coming your way. They're going to send them out one at a time, and as you can see there, we will kick things off with our Expert Turbo category. They'll send them out one at a time. It's a 15-minute session, and it is a typical qualifying session. Your quickest lap will determine where you start in the race come tomorrow.
Yes, and that is Blake Helms of the 111 right there. You see on screen there. He is sliding around those corners, like you were saying. Brand new track out here. It's an amazing track. I took a lap this morning just to see the changes, and right now I'm excited to see the Expert Turbo class out here on course qualifying. Yeah, important to note there as well, you can see the wet spots right there, so they have certainly put some water down to keep the dust out to a low roar. The dirt itself is completely different than what we had here in March. It looks like it has a lot more clay in it. As you can see here, this is a driver's track. It is a rhythm track. You've got to get in the flow of pitching this thing in. You have to carry mid-corner speed. If you carry too much, it will throw you off for the entry of the next corner. It is a very difficult track, a very technical track, and you've just got to get a feel for it. You can see there, there's an inside line, an outside line. There's actually a big kicker jump right there where we were just watching those two. If you hit it really hard, it will send you up to the banking. If you hit it a little bit lower, keep your tires on the ground, run the short way around, maybe it pays dividends. We'll find out how that works out. Yes, and at Memorial Day weekend, this part of the race course was not incorporated into the track because of all the construction going on. So we have our whoop section back, we have our step up back there in the back. We have, I believe it's 15 turns out here this weekend, which is so cool. And there we see that is Kendra Hoop getting towed off, unfortunately, right now. She is one of our Mid-America Outdoors ambassadors, and she is one that races in multiple classes, but that's unfortunate to see her getting towed off. Yeah, currently 12th in the points in this particular category.
had a decent outing during our last round here, finished up inside of the top 10. So something going astray there. Unfortunately, the worst possible time, right? You make it through practice, you come out here. Qualifying is very critical, and unfortunately she gets a mechanical there.
Yes, and right there, that is where the over-under jump will be. We will not be doing the under in our races. That is what they will be using on Nitrocross. But super cool. That bridge, I showed up last week, and that was not actually here at that time when I showed up.
Yeah, as we talked about before at the top of the show, I mean, this track ever-changing here as we keep an eye on some of our competitors. The number 47 car there.
That is Rusty Pipes.
Yeah, Rusty Pipes. And Rusty Pipes giving us all a scare here during the Memorial Day weekend. Glad he is okay and back out here competing once again. Always a tough player no matter what class he gets inside of.
And that is Lee Knowles, his buddy right there. That's in front of him. And there we do have Jay Shaw. I believe that is right behind as well. No, that was not Jay Shaw.
Mickey Schroeder, by the way, I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there. And the 444, we've yet to see Mickey, but currently leading the points here in this particular category. Austin Dinger, also a solid player. Somebody over on their lid, it looks like the number 978 there, unfortunately going for a ride. I do not have that number on my list. We'll see if we can figure out
if we do
figure that out. Ricky Schroeder.
Yes.
So we were just talking about Mickey Schroeder, and this is Rick Schroeder.
Lots of little incidents already out there. This course is very technical, like you were saying. There is a couple little areas, too, that are very, you have the inside-outside lines. The inside lines might be a jump. The outside line, you can drift around it. But like Travis was saying in his interview just a few minutes ago, you know, he had a little hiccup himself earlier on. And it's because this track is very technical, and that's why practice is so key.
You can see there the bridge and the part of the over-under, and then down into the final turn, or headed back up the hill, if you will. And so this track, obviously, as you can see here, the conditions are going to be ever-changing. Every single lap, somebody is going to go a little bit quicker as this thing continues to dry out. So you want to get a feel for it now, not push too hard. Try to get that rhythm in that rhythm section. The switchbacks, if you will, the left-handers or right-handers that follow each other, and then just keep picking away at it, because it's going to be the last lap that really matters.
Mm-hmm. That it will be, and that is a great drone footage. That is on the back stretch of the old track that we are utilizing again on that step up. And right here, they used to have a little tight left-hand turn and then more technical. It's basically a straightaway. They jump over a ditch right there. They have this tabletop jump that's not super large, but then they have to come up here and they make a tight right-hand turn, and that's when they start into the snake section, as I'm calling it.
Pretty high-speed turn right there, and then you have to check up immediately, make that left, and as you were talking about, into a right-hander, up to a left-hander, another right-hander, another left-hander. It is very, very busy for sure. Some opportunities for passing. I mean, if you can get the flow, if you can get a run on somebody, maybe stick the nose down underneath them. Of course, here it's all about being respectful. If you're out here, you're trying to run a fast lap. If you want to count on your spotter there as well, your spotter needs to tell you, hey, there's some room behind you if you want to back off, if you're catching somebody, or if your spotter tells you you've got somebody coming up behind you, clearly they're a faster car. Let them go, follow them, and try to learn what they're doing and make yourself faster. 3 cars nose to tail together right there, it's not what you want in qualifying.
No, it is not. And what you're saying too, like, qualifying is very key. You are obviously catching people if they're a lot, slower than you, but it also slows you down, and you're trying to push for that faster lap. But we do have Grant Stephen in that number 1 spot right now at a 1:56.18, so he's holding the number 1 spot with John Calgary right behind him, and it's just going to keep switching up here on us. But that is an amazing track lap time right there.
Hey, Calgary nearly up on the podium there at Wheatland in the first round, finished up in 4th, and there is one of the cars moving over out of the way. That's exactly what I was talking about. A very respectful move right there. Let the fastest cars go. You can see there's still one holding up another. If I was a spotter, I would tell them let them go, and the 11 car, unfortunately, has gone over. Jason Roper out of Lilburn, Georgia.
Yeah, that's number 11 right there on the side, and it looks like he's trying to help push his own car back over. We have safety crew that is all over the racetrack. We do have, it's just over a 2-mile loop, and we're back at that large racetrack, which is fun for the drivers. They like it because they get a lot of seat time in it, and it's challenging. It's not just last race. We had a smaller track, and it had 10 turns and 1 jump in it. So being back at a whoop section, turn section, and back into those S turns, that you have to be a good driver and on those S-turns, you are drifting in those corners, and it's an amazing track out here and a fast track.
So following along the number 88 car, that is Austin Dinger. Currently Dinger second in the points. Kicked the season off with back-to-back wins and a first overall here, round number 1 at MAO, and then went into Wheatland. Unfortunately had a disastrous round number 1, finished up 15th, but then bounced back to end up on the podium in third place. Again, the yellow number 88 that we're following there with the drone. That earned him a 7th place overall at Wheatland, and then again another disastrous round 1 here at MAO for round number 3, where he finished 20th, and then bounced back in the second round to finish 5th for a 12th overall. Despite all of that, Mickey Schroeder was just shredding the entire time up on the podium every round, with the exception of round 1 where he finished up 5th. But he does manage to hang on to second place right now, just a couple of points ahead of Donovan Willis in the number 86 car.
And that's a great shot right there of them having to keep their speed in those turns, one of those tight left-hand turns. That was them coming down off the step-up. And right there we have Rusty Pipes. They're going through a local caution. So they have to slow down. They have to maintain a 25-mile-per-hour speed limit maximum during a local caution, and there is no passing allowed. If they do end up passing, they do get penalized.
Well, of course, and this is just disastrous in terms of qualifying. There's no way you're going to lay down a fast lap. So I guess just run the rest of the course there. Again, it's all about spacing. Try to space yourself out here. Spotters are absolutely critical right here to tell their drivers you've got somebody right on the bumper. Let that person go. If there's 4 of them there, your lap is already junk. Let all 4 of them go. Look at all the room in the back part of that course. If I was that spotter, I'd tell my driver, just get out of the throttle, get to the side, let them all go, and get back there where that massive gap is, so when you come back around start finish, you can get back in the throttle and make another run at it. Hopefully that local caution is gone.
Yes, and that's Mike McCleany right there with Rusty Pipes behind him, and then we have Lee Knowles right behind him. Now we have a 4-car battle going on, and I believe that's Austin Dinger that is now in that 4-car battle on the backside. And there he was there. I'm not sure where he went now.
Faster than the cameraman could follow is what happened. So that's a good sign right there. Looks like safety has that car removed and ready to go. We should be able to open up that corner and once again throw down some fast laps here for qualifying. Still plenty of time yet to get it done. The track's starting to dry out now. 7.5 minutes yet to go in this session.
And when there are, watering the course, it's definitely slippery. But like you kept saying earlier, the track conditions are going to change. Every single lap they're changing. It's drying up. It's warm today. The sun has been out. Looks like it's a little cloudy right now, but it's definitely changing each lap as we're seeing dust right there in that corner already.
Well, they keep chopping the inside of that turn off, so it gets a little dustier and a little bit shorter through there every time, which I was at the drivers' meeting today, and Billy Champion, race director, definitely made it a point along with actually both race directors saying if you cut the course here, it's going to be a 1-lap penalty. Mm-hmm. They're not playing any games, and they were here during Memorial Day. Everybody was doing it. They were kind of getting away with it, but it creates a dangerous situation for both the drivers and for the track workers. So the race directors made it crystal clear during the drivers' meeting here today that they would not stand for it here this weekend.
Yes, we actually did have a driver to actually get penalized at the Memorial Day weekend race, and it's unfortunate, but you know what? Once one person does it, you got to stick to your guns. The rules are the same for every single person, and we do still have Rusty Pipes chasing down this 717 of Mike McCleany.
Yeah, it just blows my mind if these guys are racing like this or trying to get around the slower car when they've got a ton of track back behind them. I mean, I get it. If you can get around them and get some clean track, it makes a lot of sense, but there's space in front of and behind. So pick one and throw a lap down.
And we do have Lee Knowles has dropped back in that 4-car battle. He is now in the back of it with a 2-2-2 in front of him of Jacob Frederick. But, that's where you keep saying the spotters are definitely key. And there we do see Rusty Pipes did get by him finally. So now he'll get a nice clean air. And that's that step-up area in the back. That is the 2-2-2 right there again. Jacob Frederick and that Johnny K Power Sports.
Yeah, saw the 41 of Lee Knowles as well, another ambassador here out of Louisiana. Finished up on the podium here in round number 1 for a 5th overall. Comes in here 5th in the points. as well with 85, so just 1 point out of fourth and just a couple of points out of third. So Lee Knowles having a good season here. Look at that, right down on the very edge of the track.
Yes, this track is so much fun. If you have a chance to get out there, I would take a lap. I
am actually going to. I have full intentions of getting that done tonight. I definitely want to go around this track. So
yeah, it's pretty cool to see. I mean, and the steepness of the turns, the banks that the Nitro Cross is utilizing and everything, they're very, very steep.
Yeah, which means, of course, there's a lot of blind turns.
Yes.
And what we have beautiful vision here, courtesy of the camera people here giving us these views, of course. So a lot of times as fans, when you watch them, you say, why did the driver do that? Or why didn't they drive around this particular incident or that obstacle? Well, I can tell you that words cannot explain the difference of the level of vision of being out here watching a race versus being inside of a car. There it is. You sit very low inside of these things, so your vision is limited. You have, in a lot of cases, a full containment seat. You have a head and neck restraint device that keeps you from moving your head. You can't even look down to see, if you have a shifting car, say like a Yamaha, you can't see that shifter. So it's the vision is certainly very, very limited when you're inside of the vehicle, which is exactly why I want to drive around this track. And it's completely different when you're on the track. It just views differently.
It definitely. And right now we do have our leaderboard up. It looks like we have a 3-minute, 34-second left. It looks like Grant Stephen is in that number one position right now with a 1:44.925. Austin Dinger in that second position with a 1:46. And then John Calagaru and then Mickey Schroeder on the top four. And there we do have Rusty Pipes on the pipes.
How about that?
Yeah, exactly.
2 minutes left in this session, as you can see up there as well. And it looks like the times have dropped near 5 seconds, which is exactly what we anticipated. We saw a 150 up there before, now down to basically a 1:44.9 or 1:45, if you want to call it that. But Dinger's second of the points, as we talked about. We talked about Mickey Schroeder, the number 444 there in fifth place. He's your points leader. So a little bit slower, 1.8 seconds off there of the pole.
In just under a minute, they're going to get one more lap in right here. Lee Knowles is definitely keeping his position from the 2:22 of Jacob Frederick. Oh, then they must have had
the 41. The 41's going to pull in and call it good. And you do have that option if you think you've laid one down. As you talked about before, maybe one more lap. So depending on where you're at the track, if you can get back across the timing loop there and start that last lap, as we can see here, a minute 45 seconds or so is what it takes to get around. So if you could get underneath there and get that last lap started.
And that's where the spotter is so key, to be watching the timing at the same time as they're spotting for you, because you want to know, do I need to push a little bit harder on this last lap to maybe get that number one spot?
And Calagaru just jumps up to the pole position, 144.5, puts 4/10 on Steven. Dinger still 146.0. Of course, it'll take him a moment to get back around here. We'll see if he's still out there on the track to lay one down here as the clock starts to wind down. Once again, following our expert turbo category.
And there we see the 86 of Donovan Willis. John Calagaru holding that number one spot in the number 57. John Calagaru just stepped up into the expert turbo this year. He was in the amateur last year. Lee Knowles, we all know he was our amateur turbo champion last year, and he stepped up this year also to the expert class.
Yeah, that was a good look at Donovan Willis, currently third in the points, and as you can see, inside of the top five in terms of qualifying there in the number 4 hole.
Oh, and we see here's the 261 off the course.
Grant Stephen.
Very unfortunate to see that.
That is Grant Stephen there in the second position, by the way. Was leading at one point until John Calagaru laid down that 44.5. So Stephen having a great qualifying session. Let's hope there's not a mechanical or an issue with the car. Of course, they have all night to finish whatever it was, but certainly the car was performing well. He was driving well.
Yes, and on screen there is John Calagaru sitting in that number one spot, getting ready to make his last left-hand turn, coming into the finish line, and he is not letting up. Let's see if he beats his last lap time here. 1:44.517, and it looks like it's going to possibly be around the same time, unless it just did not update quite yet.
Looks like 144.65 in that particular case there. So about a tenth or 1400ths of a second there slower, but very consistent laps, and that's what you want to see as well. So you want to see fast, and more importantly, you want to see some great grouping. So if you can lay them down, within a tenth of a second, lap after lap after lap, at the end of the day, it's about overall time, not just one lap time. So the one lap time here will get you a great starting spot, though, and that's what it's all about as we take a look at the unofficial results here in the Expert Turbo category here for the 2023 Visions Off-Road. Congratulations to John Calagaroo. Of course, he'll need to pass tech before that becomes official, but Donovan Willis right there behind him. Grant Stephen, who was up on the pole, ends up in the P3 spot. Jacob Frederick and Austin Dinger to round out the top 5 and our handy unofficial results.
Yes, and then 6th position, Jason Roper. 7th, Jordan Kalichia, Mickey Schroeder in that 8th, Rusty Pipes 9th, Chase Kemp in that 10th position.
There's Lee Knowles a little bit deeper down and did have a really nice lap time there a little bit earlier on. Blake Helms, Austin Braden, Chris Adelot, Maxwell Reese Fullman, Cooper Stewart, Mark McCleary, Michael Branning, Bree Seek, and Michael Green to round out the top 20. And as you can see, 25 cars deep inside of this one. Andrew Shipman, we saw Kendra Hoop, unfortunately, being pulled off. So a couple of the racers out here, unfortunately, having a tough go of it during this session as well.
Yes, but having 25 cars out here for Visions Week, it's awesome. Our car count actually is the largest that it has ever been out here. So we do have the 978 right there getting towed off from our amazing track crew that takes care of all of our racers out there. But very unfortunate to see cars. But you know what? They can go back, hopefully get everything fixed and get back on track. Just be starting towards the back if they didn't have a fast lap time.
So, yeah, they're getting their season started as well. No points currently. Might be the first event, the first maiden voyage, if you will, for 2023 for that particular team. And unfortunately, a little bit of work there to do tonight to get that one race ready.
Yeah, that one's 978 of Rick Schroeder. So unfortunate. Again.
Man, what a massive event we have here. Of course, the next class that's coming up here, bear with us, will be Expert NA. We have 3 more classes to go, including Expert NA, so stay with us. We'll be right back in just a moment to Visions Off-Road 2023, presented by Can-Am.
AMSOIL runs on freedom and has since 1972. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond, because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us.
Ready for any challenge. Maxxis tires can handle even the most punishing off-road conditions. Maxxis tires. Tread victoriously.
Speed Sport has been America's motorsports authority since 1934. Get news, results, and commentary from the most connected experts in the business, covering all forms of motorsports from flat track to NASCAR and everything in between. Bookmark speedsport.com on your mobile device now, or follow Speed Sport on social, and be sure to subscribe to the Speed Sport Daily. Speed Sport is your one-stop shop for all things racing on 2 wheels and 4.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Visions Off-Road 2023, presented by Can-Am. We are covering qualifying. We just finished up Expert Turbo. Up next will be Expert NA, as we are entering round number 4 of the 2023 season here at MAO. Round 1 held right here. Round 3 held right here on a different track. Round 4, the track a little bit different again. Round 2, I skipped that one. We were at Wheatland at Lucas Oil Speedway. Just a beautiful complex there as well. It was great to travel the series there. But as you can see, this gorgeous facility has undergone quite a change here in the past couple of months. Yes. Amazing how much dirt, how much earth they have moved. It's amazing how much asphalt they put down.
I know. That's what amazes me the most is the asphalt, but so much dirt. They have a screening plant that is off into the prairie area where they have been mining their own dirt, and our camera is actually going that way. So that right there is the pit bike track. Then we have the Nitro Cross area. That right there used to be Thunder Valley. Well, it's still Thunder Valley, but that used to be last year a huge jump. We had a rhythm section there. That's where we did the rodeo and everything. So much stuff has been done here. It's just amazing. And I see it. You see it. The people that come here are completely amazed at the track.
Yeah, I can't wait to cruise around here a little bit later on tonight and get a better feel for it. So impressive what Jason Robinette and the rest of this team has done, and it is a massive team. Without them, it wouldn't happen. But he is the ringleader without question and does an amazing job with it. So much going on here this week as well. I mean, it's Tuesday, right? It's Tuesday?
It
is Tuesday, and we're racing, or at least we were racing earlier today. The youth classes were out here earlier today. We're qualifying now, of course. We'll be racing tomorrow. We'll be racing on Thursday, racing on Friday. Ultra 4, busy here all week as well. Rodeos here, Nitro here. We saw Travis Pastrana a little bit early on. Pit bike races. The list just goes on and on and on. It is crazy. At one point during this week, we will have 4 live streams happening at one time. It's insane. It's
insane, and I've never been here and doing that at the same time. And actually, tomorrow we'll be here doing this together, and then I actually will have to be going over to the Ultra 4 USA races because I do broadcasting for that as well. So it's a busy week.
Yeah, for sure.
I would do it all over again.
Right, it's awesome.
After we all get some rest.
We have the Visions RC gang is going to be here later on in the week on Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday with their big race on Saturday. World-ranked RC racers in the house battling for $30,000. It's a big payday for sure, so we'll have some of the best duking it out there as well. Looking forward to that one. As you can see, the first car is pulled off, and they are sending them spaced out one at a time. That's the initial idea, is to give them enough room to go out and get a good, clean lap in. This track worked in now. My guess is they probably left it alone. I don't think it would have needed any water after that last session, and should pick right up where the Expert Turbos left off here with a good track.
Yes, and normally when we do this, it was a land rush start for qualifying as well. So it's awesome to see that they're spacing them out. New track, that nobody has enough practice time on this track to really, have it embedded in their mind already. So spacing them out is really key. But as we keep seeing every time the car is out there, when you come up to a slower one, you're already lapping them. So it doesn't stay that way the whole time.
This track is much more challenging, going back to what you were just talking about there, with the land rush starts here in our first race or a practice session or a qualifying session, whatever you'd like to call it. At the end of the day, if the lap times count, it's either a race or it's a qualifier. So and there are practice sessions where they don't count, and it is literally exactly what it states, a practice session, but this is a qualifying session here. So they want to space these drivers out, but if you send them all out in a land rush start, trying to get underneath here and get some good clean track, again, talking about this is where the outside car should just back off, let that driver go, let the number 28 go. That is Luke Seyfried. And Luke, a talented driver, in fact, tied with the points with his twin Landon. So they've had an incredible year there. But that's a great car to follow. That's what you want to do. Fall in behind, find out what Luke is doing, and try to figure it out. Make your lap times better. That's what it's about. But if you send them all on a land rush, what are they going to do? They're racers. They're going to start racing. So you don't want to have that happen here in this qualifying session.
No, definitely not. And I always say, once you put your helmet on, I call it your brain bucket. Your mind is completely all about racing. But we do have a 3-car battle going on. That is the 04.
As we say that, right?
Right, exactly. 3-car battle. Then right there on the right-hand line, that's the one where we have a little bit of a step up. That's Chase Mencken in the 101. And the 06.
It looks like the 06 there as well.
06 is I can't even say her name. Alexia Learning. And they're going over the bridge area right there. I cannot wait to see Nitro Cross do that jump. That's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Our drivers were wishing they were doing it. But you know what? We got to save some of the track for Nitro as well. But we do have that 3-car battle going down that race line ridge there. It looks like Isabella has that number 1 spot when they started. It has not updated timing-wise, so when we get that updated, we'll be able to know.
Yeah, we were actually supposed to see that happen here with these classes, but they've been battling a water hole down there throughout the week with some rain that came down earlier, so trying to get that alleviated before we go racing here tomorrow. Hopefully we'll be able to open up that entire section of the track as you were talking about there and watch them go over that jump. That over-under there.
Yes, we had a lot of rain a few days ago. It was pouring down. I don't think I've ever seen rain coming down so hard at one time. It was like the cloud just opened up on us. But we do have the 124 battling it out there with the 82. So let's see here.
82 is Landon Seffert.
Yes, and that's Caden Isabella. Having a little bit of a race going on. And you know what's really difficult, too, being behind somebody on a race course that has had water put down is the tear-offs. You got to have that vision, and that's when you hope you put enough tear-offs on your helmet so you don't run out.
So Caden Isabella comes in here doing a very good job here this year. She's currently 4th in the points. Doing a nice job there with a total of 83 points, just 5 out of 3rd. And we talked about both Luke and Landon, the twins, Seyfried twins. Either one of them has won every single round this year. So the twins just absolutely dominating. In fact, they've been on the podium every single round, with the exception of round 3, the second round of round 3. It was Landon who missed the podium, ended up in 7th place. Finished up 4th overall that particular weekend. But the Twins have definitely been putting on a show here this year, looking for a championship, and they're tied up at the top, 110 points each, after 3 rounds of racing. And 3 rounds of racing for us is 6 races. Mm-hmm. So they've been duking it out back and forth. It's got to be a lot of fun at the dinner table, right?
I was getting ready to say the same thing, or the car ride home. I believe they live down in Texas, so car ride home's probably always fun. Or here, I guess I should say. I wonder if they do any side bets for themselves.
Again, you can see the cars chopping off the inside of that right-hander to shorten up the track just as much as possible. And there's a look at the turns as they snake back and forth, as you were talking about before. And it's just so critical to link those turns together and carry that momentum. That is definitely what it's all about as we take a look at the number 28 car. Once again, Luke Seyfried.
And Luke Seyfried actually is sitting in that number 1 spot with a 1:44.299. So that's a great time right there. Landon actually
and it just fell down.
Yeah, Landon just took over the lead at a 1:43.653.
Yeah, and of course, L. Seyfried, as you can see up in timing and scoring, you have to pay attention to the numbers, the 82 and the 28, obviously inverted there, but that's how you tell the difference between the two on timing and scoring without enough room to put the entire first name. 143.6, 144, basically a 3, so separated there by just a few tenths of a second.
Yes, and then Darren Green is sitting in that 3rd spot. Caden Isabella in 4th. Chase Mencken in that 5th position. But, yeah, that's pretty crazy. And like you're saying, I really didn't even think about it. But, yeah, the 82.28 until you just brought that up. But there is the 82 of Landon Seyfried in the lead, not letting up. That was the back stretch where they do have that step up.
Getting the best out of that Polaris RS1. So Luke finishing 2nd and 2nd in the first round. Landon 1st and 1st in the first round. Then it was Landon that won the 2nd round. And then Luke's had won the 2nd race of the 2nd round. And then it was Luke again that won the next 2 rounds. So it's just incredible how equal the cars are and how equal the talent is. And the fact that they're twins. I mean, it's a great story.
It is a great story. And they're great kids. seeing them out in the pits and talking with them. It's a great story, like you said, but they're really good kids. Their dad's hilarious. He's fun to be around too. But Luke just took it back over from Landon at a 1:43.148.
Yeah, chopped off more than a second. So very impressive effort right there out of Luke. And, of course, lays a gauntlet down for Landon.
I wonder if they keep secrets from each other of how their driving skills are, being twins, being, identical twins out there on the race course at the same time, or I wonder if they talk about it to help make themselves better.
Well, if they're keeping secrets, they're not going to tell us.
Well, that is very, very true.
We'll probably never know the real answer to that.
That is so true.
And if they tell us we share all of our information, I don't know if I'm going to believe them, so why even ask?
Oh, goodness, that's so awesome. Yeah, so Luke Seyfried in that number 1 spot, Landon in second, Darren Green third. Blake Helms actually has popped up into the number 4 position, took it over from Caden Isabella.
See, Rick Schroeder looks like might be doing double duty, both the Expert Turbo and Expert NA, as we watch the 614 make a lap around there. That is Sean Philbin out of Truxton, Missouri.
There we do have a
21 as well. That is Keegan Cummings, who is 21 out of El Reno, Oklahoma.
Another 3-car battle. He's trying to make that pass right there. But like you're saying earlier, that is where it's key to have your spotter telling you, hey, you've got somebody behind you that's faster, pull off, or let up. Just get off the side. Don't hold your hold your own race line, but let them go by.
And Luke just broke into the 42s, a 42.88. Continues to set the pace.
And look at that. He's on the brakes so hard, and that turn right there is the turn that all the racers have been talking about. And that is a very difficult turn. We saw a lot of issues on that at Memorial Day weekend, but that's where the practice is key in knowing how your car handles.
Right on the ragged edge, carrying that inside rear tire. That's when you know they're getting everything out of it that they can get. There's not a whole lot of room left there without flipping that thing over. Using all the track they can get. That is a look at the 82 car, by the way.
Yes, the 82 of Landon.
So that's Landon.
And look at this, all these cars, there's 5 of them basically right here that's going to end up bunched up here in just a minute, but it's a race in itself. I know this is only qualifying, but what do we always say? You put your brain bucket on and it's all nothing but go fast, chase that dust if there's dust out there, and you want to get in that number 1 spot.
Yeah, winding this one down 6.5 minutes. I mean, that's still plenty of time with lap times coming in at the minute and 40-second range. So plenty of time to get a couple of good flyers in. I don't know what that was, but it did not look good. I don't know if somebody just went for a ride there or just disappeared behind the K-rail. It was hard to tell as we take a look at the 28 car. Currently sitting on the pole is Luke Seyfried.
It looks like they have about 6 minutes left in their qualifying time.
Single seater, sit in the middle of those cars, as you can see. A little bit smaller car. But a nice feel when you sit center like that.
It is. The RS1s are a lot of fun to drive, being a single seat like that, like you just said, center of gravity. But it's I'm still a Can-Am fan. That's what I personally have raced. My kids racing that. This different feel, but the center of the car is definitely key in this race course. We do have in other race series too, we have people that are racing the single seats because taking those turns tighter, and it's just a wider stance for them as well.
Yeah, Miles Cheek had an incredible RS1 that he won the championship in, and had made a number of changes there. You talked about center of gravity as well. Not only do they sit center, but they try to get the drivers as low as possible to get that center of gravity as low, that weight down low. You can carry speed through the corners a little bit better. A little traffic jam right here going on, and the 21 up on 2 wheels. That is Keegan Cummings. Been racing for 7 to 8 years, off and on. Pretty focused for the last 4 years, though. Had a couple of bad rounds, had a little bit of bad luck here, and hoping to turn things around at Visions. Also, the 614 mixed up in the middle of that one as well. Sean Philbin, who we spoke of before.
Trying to make out who that was behind Sean as well. But there we do have the 82 right there of Mr. Safrit. because both of them obviously are up there with the L's, and I don't have Landon Saffert as the 82. I'm going to have to get that embedded in my brain so I know.
Yeah, it's so easy if you don't. I mean, without checking your notes, it's just an easy one to miss. So
exactly. Oh, it looked like almost a little bit of an over-rotation right there, but Landon and Luke, look at their scoring. They were the only two in the 142, but look at this. Darren Green just took over the number 2 spot from Landon Saffert. Luke is in that first position.
Yeah, the first three separated by a half second. Very impressive here on this big track. Yeah, but Green wants to jump right in the middle of this. Yeah, this is Darren Green, by the way. Number 242 comes in here with 88 points, currently third in the points, and fresh off of a podium finish right here, round number 3. So clearly a track that's to his liking. And it looks like the 101 there in a little bit of trouble as well, unfortunately.
Yes, that is Chase Mencken. Unfortunate. I know it's about racing and it's the racing game and it happens, and they're out there racing right now for a time, but it's so unfortunate to see cars getting towed off when they're out here on practice or the qualifying runs. Yeah,
unfortunately it's all part of the game, as you well know. I mean, you guys are heavily involved in it as well. Back to Darren Green, finished 6th overall, then 7th overall, and then 3rd overall last time we were here, Memorial Day weekend, round 3. So since this track has been a good bit more difficult to drive, Darren Green has risen up to the top. So pretty impressive to see, and now jumps right into the fray there in terms of lap times with the Saffert. So very impressive run there out of Green.
And out here on a 15-minute time is what they do. They come out here, however many laps they get in within 15 minutes. So they have a lot of time to try to make up and be on that number 1 spot for the qualifying. But we do still have the 28 of Luke Saffert in that number 1 position.
We're following Sean Philbin. You can see him down there in the 13th slot at 152.2. Just a little bit out of the top 10. Currently 11th in the points. And I'm sure would love to break into that top 10. Nice ride here up the hill. A lot of elevation change. I mean, when you can see it on the camera, I promise you it is big. When you stand out here and look at it, it is a mountainside.
Yes, trying to walk up those hills when I was out here doing a little bit of an interview with Terry Madden a couple weeks ago. They're super steep. We couldn't even hardly walk up some of them because they were so steep. And these cars, I mean, that's what you're seeing them drift on them. And it's so cool to see the power of these cars making these turns, making these elevation changes. And right there, they're coming down, and it's kind of like an off-camber, making a, kind of a tight right-hand turn. That is an area, like I said earlier, that we added back into the course this time. And there we do have the 242.
Darren Green there out of Tomball, Texas, who jumped up there into that 2nd slot.
So they have a minute 20 left. We shall see if they continue on once they get back to the finish line. They're on that back stretch right there is where that camera angle is from, and you can see it now from the drone. We used to have an 80-foot tabletop jump back there. Last season, it was a massive jump, and it was super cool to see these guys and gals jump it. It was a fast one, too. And we do have right here, that was the 21 that was pulling off of Keegan Cummings. Oh,
Woo.
Bicycle.
Yeah, up on the bike right there trying to hang on to it, and that's what happens as this track continues to get faster. You get faster, you start pushing. Time is running out. You got your spotter telling you this is it. It's going to be the last lap. You got to go for it. You can see the checkered flag, by the way, down there waving some of them off because they will not make it back around.
And there we did have Luke Saffert.
Wow, down into the 141s and nearly a second faster. I mean, that was 0.6 of a second faster in that last lap. Wow. For Saffert. That is very impressive. Needless to say, Luke Saffert, I should say. 141.39. Amazing. With a couple of cars just crossing the stripe here. It'll finish up this group here for Expert NA. And once again, we will show you unofficial results here until Tech has cleared everybody.
So if we look here, Landon Saffert picked it up on that last lap and put him in that number 2 position at a 141.736. So great change up on the end. Having Luke and Landon, then Darren Green. But we, like you said, we did have Darren Green off pace.
Yeah, and clearly, as you can see there, that is overall time on the right-hand side, not their quickest lap. So good stuff, though. I mean, everybody picking it up. As you talked about, Luke picking it up there on the last lap, Landon picking it up on the last lap. Darren had stuffed it in there into the number 2 hole with a couple of minutes yet to go, but ends up inside of the top 3. Chase Mankin and Blake Helms inside of the top 5. Caden Isabella, by the way, just outside of the top 5. So nice job for the young lady as well.
All right, looks like we are on our way to our next class, Ken. It is our Pro NA. This class right here, we should have 20 cars taking the green flag today.
Yeah, Owen Van Epperen has been the class of the field here right up until round number 1 there, and during Memorial Day weekend here, round number 3, and I think he clipped one of those tractor tires, if I'm not mistaken, and whenever you do that with one of your rear tires, it disappears. Exactly. And that's exactly what happened, and it's really, really hard to win one of these races with just 3. So, unfortunately, a tough go of it there for Owen Van Epperen, but such a solid driver. I saw his father a little bit earlier going the other way here. So we'll find out how they qualify out here, but won the first 2 races, finished first and second in the second round at Wheatland, and then, as we talked about, 18th and came back to finish 8th here round number 3, finishing up 13th overall. Comes in as the points leader over Colin Truitt.
And didn't he just now return from racing this weekend? So
somebody just went for a big ride.
Oh, that's Rimreed. Oh, no, that's Tyler Rimreed right there. He's one of our Mid-America ambassadors. He just came off of racing last weekend at the champ race as well as Owen Van Epperen, but that's so unfortunate, again, to see them pushing so hard at the beginning of qualifying.
Bennington, Nebraska driver, will get some help there to him just as quickly as possible, and of course that's going to create a local caution there in that particular corner here for a lap or 2, which will slow everybody down here in terms of qualifying. As we talked about before, 15 minutes for these sessions. They should have plenty of time to get back after it. That might have been Van Epperen that just went by there in the Yamaha. The Yamaha manually shifted car. A lot of Polaris is inside of the field. Those are not shifted cars. The CVT style clutch, you just stand on the throttle or stand on the brake the way it goes. Also a couple of Hondas inside of the category as well. Well, it's great to have some different manufacturers in here.
Yes, it is. It definitely shows, having the different ones in here, it shows, the drivers, how they're driving. Everybody has a different driving style, and everybody has a different way of driving what they're in. Some people prefer, like, the different manufacturer of a Honda, or, like, here we go. We have Kanan Baker right here, the number 21 coming out.
Yeah, Baker in a Polaris, and as we watch him, very, very talented 2021 Pro NA champ and runner-up in 2022. Also competing in Pro Turbo as well. Out here also competing in Pro Lights. So young Kanan, very talented. His sister also competing. As you can see, no times yet. So what happens is they leave the starting line. They'll make pretty much a complete lap, just short of one complete lap. They'll come around, pick up the green flag, and then they will make their first complete lap. So that's what we're doing now, laying down the first complete lap. And I don't know if they were able to clear that car, Rimmereed, out of the way. I've not seen that local caution corner pop back up here on camera just yet. Should get a look here at times. We'll be able to compare them directly to the expert NA category. So we're going to go back here and take a look at our replay here of Tyler Rimmereed, who went for a ride courtesy of AMSOIL. That is Owen Van Epperen in the number 5 car, and as you can see, the 43 car going for a big ride, Tyler Rimmereed.
And I don't know, I know you noticed this, or you had to notice this. We also changed where our finish line is now. We now have it on that last big jump. Before that used to be our last obstacle on the race course before, and now we have changed it, and that's now our finish line. We do have our timing loop over there, and that's an amazing finish line. We have that arch up over it as well. But we do have Owen Van Epperen in that number 1 spot, Chase Carr in 2nd, Kanan Baker in 3rd, and Cruz Bichard in that 4th position.
Yeah, and I'm not, it says fast lap up here, so unless that first lap is way, way off pace, and it could be if they had that local caution That's probably the reason for the times. Keep in mind the Expert NA. This is an NA class, meaning normally aspirated, no turbos on these. But keep in mind the Expert NA was a minute 41. So these drivers are the Pro NAs, should be a good bit quicker here. So we'll see once they get a good, full, clean lap in what they've got. Oh, a hole developing down there in that right-hander where everybody is chopping it off. And taking a look at the points leader, very, very fast inside of that Yamaha. Factory Yamaha effort there. His father, also Rodney Van Eperen, a multi-time champ inside of side-by-sides. Used to compete in pro lights as well. Very vicious racer. And his son, certainly chip off the old block. Extremely talented. You were just starting to talk about it. These guys were all just racing in Antigo, Wisconsin 1 weekend ago. I say a weekend ago. I keep thinking this is a weekend. This is a Tuesday. He literally was in Antigo, Wisconsin racing on Sunday.
Exactly. And a lot of them, what they do.
He's getting hounded here, by the way.
He is. Definitely. That is Bichard. That is right on his tail trying to make that pass. But, I mean, an amazing turnaround by a lot of these drivers. And it's not only these UTV drivers. We do have, you know, our pro light drivers as well that have just came off of racing in Antigo as well. So it's pretty cool to see them come straight here for Visions Week. It's an amazing race out here.
I'm really surprised that Rodney, who's a seasoned racer, was not telling Owen, hey, just let that car go. Get away from it, because even if you're out front, nice save right there. Even if you're out front and you're racing somebody like that, it's slowing your lap time down. So let them go. Just let them go. Let it breathe for a moment. Find yourself a hole. Go back to work.
And I think right there, that is Connor Berry that is in that third position on screen. But I believe that is Tyler Rimreed back on course right there.
Well, that would be wonderful.
Comes by and gets a time.
I mean, sometimes you just get lucky, but these cars, it does not take much to bend the front end or, you know, a left or right rear corner. But qualifying is so important. If you feel like the car's at least good enough to go out and get a lap in, whatever you can salvage is certainly worth it as we go back and take a look at Owen Van Eperen. That is a drone you can see buzzing around there chasing him.
And you know what? There was not a time on Tyler, so that definitely was not him. It just looks a lot like his car. So unfortunate. But, yeah, Owen Van Eperen, amazing background like you were saying earlier. Nice kid. But getting all that seat time racing back-to-back, there's a lot of racers that race other series that they'll be leaving straight from Visions and going to Texas to race down there at the Outlaw Series, too. So there's so many races going on right now.
Oh, no. He just killed one.
Oh, no.
Yep, unfortunately for Owen Van Eperen, hopefully they have another bullet sitting inside of the trailer because he just used that one up. 2022 was third in Pro Stock points, and that's equivalent to what we're doing right here. They are allowed to change the internals here for this series, so probably not the same engine that he was using last weekend. Another car here going for a ride in this Pro division. These cars are much faster. I shouldn't say much faster, driven much harder. As you can see there, a 138.9, so a 139 there in comparison to the 141 that we saw a little bit earlier.
And that looked like it was the number 16 of Aaron Cuevas that was on his side there. So lots of action going on in our Pro NA class as everybody's pushing it. Everybody wants that number one spot, but very unfortunate, though, for Owen Van Eperen, and then if that was Aaron Cuevas on his side there.
Yeah, this track's starting to tack up here a little bit as well as it continues to dry out. I mean, yeah, good call there. It is car number 16.
And let's talk about that for a minute, Ken. You were just saying about the track tacking up, and that's what's going on is every single lap it's changing, it's drying up. They have their tires set up a certain way. So if they have them set up for a slick track, possibly freshly watered track, and they're not going to know if it's freshly watered when they come out because it's just kind of random when they're going to do it. But it definitely is making these guys stick a little bit more, and it will catch them like what we're seeing going on here.
Yeah, it's going to, I mean, it's developed some ruts. The moisture is pretty much gone. It gets tacky, grippy. It is a track that a pro needs to drive. Yes. And they know where that edge is. But it's not to say it doesn't bite them from time to time as well. You can see the angle there to the car where they drive it in. I mean, getting everything out of it that they can, the slip angle there, and if there's a rut there, it's going to bite them.
And that's Sean Hess right there going against Kanan Baker. What a battle was going on with them, too. And we got another one going on here. And the 44 looked like he was pulled off for some reason. 44 is,
Not sure. I think it might have been the 64, Robert Van Beekom.
Oh, yes.
Van Beekom out here with a new car as well.
There's some new car blues going on this weekend.
And you talked about that battle. I think that was Hess and Kanan Baker there, and Hess might have just got clear of him.
Yes, and those two, I can't quite make out the numbers of the battle going on there as well. But there we do have the 22.
Josh Baer.
What an amazing day of racing that's been going on. I know that you were watching the kids' classes earlier on. The kids are actually done racing, so now guess what they get to do? They get to enjoy the rest of the week.
They go swimming in the pool.
Exactly.
Watch the pros do what they do.
Well, we do have some kids that are crossing over, and they're going to go race the Ultra 4 USA kids classes. So we do have some crossover classes or crossover kids that are racing in both series. And why not? You're already here, and you got the car for it. I would definitely do it myself.
Chase Carr currently in the number 1 slot out of Lake Elsinore, California. That is a hike to get here to Jay, Oklahoma, so making the best of it. The only car in the 38-second zone, 138-second zone, I should say. Just barely broke into it, 138.94. Owen Van Eperen, 139.78. Of course, will not be going any quicker in this session, as it looked like he popped a motor a little bit earlier.
Such a bummer, like you said. Hopefully they have another one setting in their trailer. They have quite the setup over there, factory sponsored, so it's like I'm sure they probably have backups.
Yeah, at the very least, I would think that he would have the engine that he would have competed with last weekend, which would be a stock 1000 engine. Not going to have quite the steam, but and a very talented driver for sure, so he'll have to go to work and see if he can salvage a weekend if they don't have another prep motor ready to go. Van Eperen there second. Kirchmeier now jumping up in the top 3. Connor Bailey, there's the 43 being towed off. That's Tyler Rimmerreed. Unfortunately, went for a ride right at the very beginning of this session. And the 16 car, once again, looks like he did hurt it whenever he flipped it over there a little bit earlier in the session. Kirchmeier, though, jumping up into the number 3 spot.
Cross Kirchmeier. So Chase Carr sitting in that number 1 spot with a 139.242. Owen Van Eperen, even though he is off, has that second fastest lap. Cross Kirchmeier than Connor Berry. Connor Berry will be racing also in the Pro Light trucks as well.
By the way, Chase Carr, very similar to that situation we were talking about in the previous classes. We see a couple of them going side by side here, but Chase Carr comes in here 4th in the points, 14th overall here in the first round, 3rd overall at Wheatland. Really enjoyed that track. Clearly it made sense to him. And then comes out here round 3 and finishes 3rd overall. So it's really charged up, making a nice turnaround there after the first round here at MAO. You mentioned Chase Carr as well. And Chase Carr also doing a great job. Cross Kirchmeier finishing up 1st overall the last time we were here at Memorial Day weekend.
Yes, and there's Kanan Baker's sister right there, Aliana Baker. I love her bright pink car. She's an amazing driver, young lady. In high school, Kanan's in high school. I mean, we got these young drivers out here racing in these pro classes. It's pretty awesome to see.
Yeah, she's 16 years old, and Kanan, I believe, 15 years old. So the two brother and sister duking it out. Both very talented. Kanan, a former champ.
There is the 13 of Curtis Kirchmeier, and he's being very closely followed by Sean Hess. Another battle going on to that first little S-turn once they make a right out of the backstretch.
A couple of cars stacked up there nose to tail.
This is where these kids and these racers, I shouldn't say kids because it's everybody out here racing, but this is a very good section to learn how to, if you can practice on it more and more, learn how to drift your car through those corners and keep on the gas. And that is a 913 of Chase Carr right there. A little off pace. And there's the 22 of Sean Hess.
One of the Hondas. We were talking about different manufacturers, so clearly one of the Hondas out there.
And we have quite a few out there. We have quite a few Hondas out there.
The 913 as well, as you guys were just talking about, for Chase Carr. Comes in here 4th in the points with a total of 88 points. But, yeah, I do agree. Off the pace there, and maybe was held up in traffic, maybe just letting it breathe for a moment, thinking about it. A little bit of time here, not much. I mean, 1 minute, 57 seconds, just short of 2 minutes.
Yes, holding that number 1 spot, though, with a 138.942 on time. But he's definitely, like you just said, off pace. just maybe completing the lap and going to pull off and be done.
Really, nobody even close. I mean, Van Eperen is no longer out there. Kirchmeier, more than a second off the pace there in terms of car.
There's something flapping right there. I don't know if it's the mud flaps. That one of them might have been kicked up because they'll run flaps underneath their car to save the area, the axles and stuff from rocks and anything that can come up and kick and get into it and stick, break your car. But I couldn't quite tell if that's what was going on right there.
It does look like I would agree with that. It looks like a mud flap that is just dragging down there.
And then that is Sean Hess coming in.
I think he's going to call it a session here, and I think he's going to be just fine no matter what in terms of starting position. There's no points here. In terms of qualifying number one, he'll have a great starting position here for tomorrow.
And we know that hill is not going to be have any spots open when we become on race day. And there we do have our unofficial results brought to you by Handy.
Yeah, chase car up top there as we were talking about, a 138.94. A great effort there. Owen Van Eperen with a lot of work to do tonight. They'll have to do an engine swap, but right there, a lot of speed in the car. Cross Kirchmeier, 140.37, jumped up there pretty late. Connor Berry was in the number 3 slot until Cross bumped him down 1. Then Kyler Holcomb inside of the top 5. How about Curtis Kirchmeier?
Yeah,
great job for him.
Very good job. Cruz Bouchard, he was in that number 22. Also on that number 7 spot. Sean Hess in another number 22 in that 8th position. I did not see Carson Vell on there, but he does have a time, so he was out there in that 9.99 in the 9th position. Kanan Baker in the number 21, rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, great qualifying session there. That leaves us one class yet to go. This class very deep, though. I mean, we've had a great car count, excuse me, all year long. And, in fact, we've seen more than 25 competitors come out here in that Pro NA category. So as we go back and take a look at Van Eperen, and you can see on the other side there, Tyler Remery, the number 43 car, went for a ride. Then it was Owen Van Eperen right here. And unfortunately, while chasing the fast lap, that Yamaha let go. So they'll have some work to do tonight and get a little bit of pressure right there as well. So hopefully we'll see a